Guys, we got some CES news for you, and CES hasn't even started. Thank you to The Brick, a Canadian retailer that is quickly making Canada the place to live if you are an Arcade1up enthusiast. For years, since the beginning of time, the United States was the number one place to live if you wanted to buy Arcade1ups. That is changing, and it is changing because of The Brick. These guys have a very good selection. They have reasonable prices. Again, remember, all these prices are in Canadian. I'm stressing that because I know 5 of you are going to watch this. You're not going to listen to what I'm saying. You're going to see $599 and you're going to freak out. Canadian money is not American money. They're two different exchange rates. American money is about 30% more valuable than the Canadian dollar. So you could do the math. But these prices, I think, are reasonable based on the other Canadian products I've seen from Arcade1up. But that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about these cabinets. They look excellent. Absolutely excellent. This is what I've been talking about for about a year now. Arcade1up needs to do a little more of what Replicate does. They need to really replicate, pardon the pun, but they really need to mimic what these original arcades looked like. And they've done that. They've done that here with their Legacy Edition. And not only have they done that and given us a better look and feel, presumably feel, obviously nobody's actually played these cabinets yet, but they've also given us a killer games list. For a long time, people have said, well, okay, we got a good games list in, let's say, the Street Fighter cocktail cabinet, which is what this games list is. But I don't want a cocktail cabinet. I want the standout cabinet. Well, that's what you're going to get here. You're going to get that games list. But look at this. We get a faux coin door for the first time on Arcade1up. Absolutely brilliant. This should have been there from day one, in my opinion. But I think when Arcade1up launched, I don't think they realized they were out to create authentic arcade units so we could all have arcades in our basement. I don't think they realized that at all. I think they thought, well, we'll make something that looks like an arcade, and it kind of plays some of the games, although maybe not very well because of the quality, and we'll just give them a couple games, and it'll be so novel and so exciting that people will buy it. And they were right. We went out and we bought that. I bought almost every unit from their first wave. Actually, I think I bought every one. I've sold some of them off now because they were crap. But I bought them. And at the time I was excited, and I know a lot of you guys were too. But we're past that now. The market's evolved. We've already bought a lot of these. We need a reason to keep coming back and buying them. And a very authentic cabinet is the reason why. At games with, I don't care how many variants of their Legends ecosystem they create, they're never going to create an authentic home arcade. That's why Arcade1up needs to do this and keep furthering that lead. But look how good this cabinet looks. You've even got this small square on the side for the artwork. Now that's what the original had. You could editorialize that artwork and blow it up and have it take up the entire side panel, and it'd probably look better. But it wouldn't be authentic. This is sticking with what's authentic. Let's look at this games list. This list is, as far as I can tell, exactly the list from the 12-in-1 cocktail cabinet, which I own. I very much like. I just played it the other day. It's a great games list. It does have one issue. That issue is the Street Fighter games are set to what I think is the hardest possible difficulty, and you cannot adjust it. We have no adjustment settings. In fact, no settings menu at all. Now, I believe going forward, these are all going to have settings menus, but I don't know that for sure. And this certainly isn't confirmed from retail listing. Maybe they'll address that at CES. Now, again, I already have this games list in another cabinet, but because this looks so authentic, and if they come out and say, hey, you know what, you can adjust the difficulty, I might consider buying this actually and getting rid of my cocktail cab, which that's a big statement because that cocktail cab is one of my favorite cabinets. I mean, this games list is great. 1944 is an awesome game. Ghosts and Goblins is awesome. Final Fight is such a key part of arcade history. Strider, I love Strider. I love Darkstalkers. So let's hope that we get dip switch settings for this, but it's looking good so far. All right, next cabinet is Tempest. We knew we were getting Tempest, and look how good this looks. Look at that. And this side panel art, it flows very nicely into the riser, as it should. I'm very glad to see that. The side panels themselves are shaped just right. You know, when they said we're going to do a Dragon's Lair cabinet, we're going to make it look authentic, I didn't fully believe them. I believe them now. I think, you know, they clearly, they're in the game now. They're building cabinets that look like the real deal. Look at this. Very nice. Very, very nice. So let's take a look at the games list we get. So Atari, or older Atari arcade games, was a little bit before my time in the arcade. Some of these games I missed out on, but a lot of them I do like. I like Crystal Castles a lot. I hope that the trackball works great. I like Tempest quite a bit. Yeah, I'm medium on Asteroids, but the point with this is going to be, can they nail the sensitivity of analog controls like that trackball, like that spinner? My hope is they have software adjustable spinner sensitivity based on the game, because these different games have different levels of needed sensitivity. So let's hope for that. That would really be clutch here, as well as just in general dip switch settings. Another thing that would be nice is access to the brightness menu for the monitor. Or they could just do a really good job calibrating this out of the box. But the reason I bring that up, these are games with black backgrounds, and that's where you're going to notice if the brightness is out of whack. I had a Galaga cabinet, and I bought an adjustment kit for the backlight levels, and it made an absolute world of difference turning the levels down. Now, they've done a good job with the newer cabinets, having better settings out of the box, so maybe this won't be a problem. But, I mean, look at that thing. That looks awesome. Very nice. I still have my Asteroids cabinet. I would strongly consider selling it and buying this Tempest cab. Very nice. All right, next up, maybe least exciting, PacMan. So I said in my predictions a couple days ago, my CES predictions, if they're going to do another PacMan, and John D hinted they would, he kind of just told us they would, then what would they do? What should they do? Well, this monitor and the control panel having the same angle and being angled and tilted back into the cabinet was something they've said before that they're looking at. And I figured, well, if they're going to go for really authentic, they're going to give us that. And that would be a good reason to re-release PacMan. I didn't realize they're going to do this whole Legacy Edition line, which I'm thrilled to see that they're doing. Now, all that said, clearly they haven't figured out how to tilt this back correctly and still keep everything running the way they want. And maybe they're worried about this marquee being in the way and limiting visibility of the monitor. I really don't know. But we are getting a really nice games list, and we are getting a pretty nice looking cabinet. We get the right shape, we get a good looking riser, we get that coin panel, all of that stuff. What games list are we getting? Well, we're getting Mappy again. Mappy's a game I've started to play a decent amount, really come to enjoy it. Dig Dug, I think you're going to do a Namco cabinet like this, you got to have Dig Dug, you got to have Galaga. Don't give us the cabinet with Galaxia in, for God's sake, but not Galaga. That's super lame. We're getting Dig Dug 1 and 2. Very, very cool. And look at that control panel. What do we have? We have a centered stick, and we have the buttons over here to manage the game. Very nice. I'm very glad to see that. In the cocktail cabinet, they did not center the stick. They offset the stick and then made room for the buttons on the right. This is a better move. This is more authentic. Nice. These look good. I'm excited to hear what they say. I hope they're talking about dip switch settings. I really hope these coin doors are actual buttons to give credits. I doubt that's the case. Arcade1up, for whatever reason, in every cabinet they've ever made, there is one button for start and add coin, which is weird. These buttons are not expensive. But that is a nitpick. This is a good looking cabinet. My thought going forward was to not rebuy a lot of the existing cabinets I have. But depending on what the new ones are and how exciting they are, I might have to consider rebuying some of these, you know? Look at that Tempest cabinet. I mean, that's got to be the best looking one out of the bunch. I want to hear what you guys think in the comments. Get hyped for CES. We're going to get more information about this probably today, but we'll see. Stay tuned. I'll talk to you soon. Hey, consider hitting that join button to support the channel, and thanks so much for watching.